Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of All In, where I'll pick an artist, a rock artist, listen to the entire discography, and give my thoughts on it. So, the rules kind of go like this. The artist in question must have 5 or more albums. Cover albums can count. And I don't generally talk about the live or acoustic albums unless most of the songs on those albums are original to that album. But yeah, so here we go. We'll begin. So this week we're doing another kind of modern band. I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard of Slipknot. Yeah, buddy. So these guys that came out in '99, Corey Taylor at the helm, at the mic, and of course he's popular with not only Slipknot but also Stone Sour. And he even made like many other guest appearances with like other bands. So I'd say like Corey Taylor, he's definitely a legend of like the 2000s as far as like any frontman goes. But anyhow, like talking back to Slipknot here. So they have a total of 7 full-length studio albums spanning from this debut in 1999, their self-titled debut, all the way to 3 years ago in 2022. They had The End So Far. So, I guess we'll get started here. So we got their first album here. It starts off with some weird 7426170027, and then the song Sick, which is SIC in parentheses. Then you have Evil Eyes, Wait and Bleed, which was what I would say that's their breakout song there. You got Surfacing, Spit It Out, which is a pretty good one. Tattered and Torn, Feral Limp Nursery, Purity, Liberate, Prosthetics, No Life, Deluded, Only One, and Scissors. And yeah, these guys, this was like, I would say this is like their most hardcore album. But I mean, if you're into like, I mean, if you're not really into like a lot of screaming or anything like that, I wouldn't really recommend it, but you know, not a bad debut for them. So then we move on to 2001's Iowa. I believe it is, yeah, it's this one here. Very reflective cover. And I feel like they kind of started to evolve a little bit here in this one. So here we start off. We have 5:15, which is the intro. You got People Equal Shit, Disaster Piece. And then we have My Plague, which was a pretty big single off of this. We have Everything Ends, the Heretic Anthem, Gently, which is kind of like a real mellow interlude. Left Behind, which was pretty popular. The Shape, Am I Hated, Skin Ticket. Then you got New Abortion, Metabolic, and their title track, Iowa, which is like a really long, 15-minute long instrumental. But you know, a good follow-up, a good sophomore album. I actually liked it better than the first one, honestly. And then we move on to Volume 3, the Subliminal Verses. This album right here. And I feel like this is where they really started to hit their stride as far as, like, you know, good material here. So here we have Prelude 3.0, The Blister Exists, 3-0, or is it 3-0? Duality, which was really popular. You got Opium of the People, another good one. Circle, Welcome, Vermilion. Yeah, Vermilion was pretty good. You got Pulse of the Maggots, Before I Forget, another somewhat popular one. Vermilion Part 2, which was like an acoustic version of Vermilion. The Nameless, The Verses of the Virus of Life, and Danger Keep Away. And it seems like throughout we're going to call it the 2000s era Slipknot, I feel like they got better with like every album in this era. Like more, I mean, yeah, they got more radio friendly, but they really got more, like they just weren't like, they weren't really like that. I mean, yeah, they're hardcore, but they really weren't like, you know, trying too hard to be hard, if that makes sense. But yeah, so far, I like that one the best. So then, we move on to their 4th album, and to end the 2000s, we have All Hope Is Gone. And here again, another good one. They took a little bit of a break from the studio. They took about a 4-year break and came out with this one in '08. And then, so here you got, the reason I'm holding this weird is because of how the songs are listed. But you got Execute, Gamatra, I guess that's how you say that, the killing name in parentheses, Sulfur. Man, I love that song. Why was Sulfur not a single? That's beyond me. That's a great song. Then we follow that with Psychosocial, another great one. Dead Memories, which was popular. Then you got Vendetta, Butcher's Hook, Gehenna. When I first read that, I thought it said gonorrhea. No, it's Gehenna. Then you got The Cold Black, Where Within Lies Continue, Snuff, which was kind of like their ballad. I kind of get more of a Stone Sour vibe with Snuff, because if you listen to Stone Sour, it is, I would say it's the more mellow version of Corey Taylor. I kind of get that vibe from that song here. And then we end it here with All Hope Is Gone. So, again, I feel like they kept evolving here in this decade. So then, they took a long, long break from the studio, and I think a lot of it had to do with, like, Corey Taylor going back and forth between Slipknot and Stone Sour. So Stone Sour was recording, like, a couple albums in that time, so, you know, Slipknot took a break. But then they come back from their break, and we get Dot 5, The Gray Chapter. And this is where I quit buying them on physical. This is about the time where I started downloading music. But I was listening to a lot of Sirius about this time, and they were playing a lot of this album over there on on the channels like Heart Attack and Octane, you know, them type of channels. Or, well, not really Heart Attack, probably Liquid Metal by this time, but anyhow, we start off with XIX, which I guess is like Roman numeral for 19. We have is it? Okay, I got it now. It's called Sarkastroph. I had to kind of practice how to say that a little bit. Then we got AOV, then the real popular song off of this, Devil and I. Really good tune, never get sick of it. They really came back with a vengeance on this album. Then we follow that with Kill Pop, then Skeptic. Then we got Lech, or is it Lech? Probably Lech. Then we have Goodbye, Pneumatic, The One That Has Killed the Least, and then Custer, which was a good single. Then we have Be Prepared for Hell. Then we have the negative one, which was good. Then we have If the Rain Is What You Want. Then we have Untitled, Puppies Between Dumpsters, and Flea Circus, which all three of them were hidden tracks. And here again, another good solid album from these guys. So then, they take a break from the studio for another 5 years. And, well, technically another 4 years. They actually released like a one-off called All Out Life, but it never really made any albums or anything. So then we move on to We Are Not Your Kind, back in 2019. Ooh, so what do we get here? So we get Unsainted. We got Birth of the Cruel, Death Because of Death, Nero Forte, Critical Darling, Elias Funeral, Red Flag, What's Next, Spiders, Orphan, My Pain, Not Long for This World, and Soulway Filth. Oh, they did, okay, I see what they did. They made All Out Life a bonus track on this, on the Japanese edition. But here in the US, it was just like a separate download. I see what they did there. But I mean, here again, not much to say about it. I mean, it's Slipknot. What can you say? So then, here we are in 2022. Here we are, you know, just getting out of the whole COVID deal. The whole pandemic deal, if I want to be politically correct about things here. But yeah, so the end so far, we have, let's see, what do we have? We have Etterall, we have the Dying Song, Time to Sing, the Clampdown Rag, or no, the Chapeltown Rag, I pronounced that wrong, and that's a really good one. Yen, another good song, like the tracks 2 through 4 were really good on this. And then you have Hive Mind, Warranty, Medicine of the Dead, Acidic, Heirloom, H377, Decade, and Finale, which I guess is the end track to this. And here again, I didn't hate it. Wasn't the best, but wasn't the worst either. Didn't mind it. And then I had to add sort of a one-off to it called Bone Church, which is... that came out in 2023. Kind of like a mellow interlude type of track. But, yeah, all in all, I mean, Slipknot's not... I always like Slipknot, you know how heavy they were and everything. It's kind of weird how, you get 9 people who are named by number. They have, like, the whole mass thing going on. I kind of feel like they sort of got that from Gwar, bands like Gwar. So, I'm trying to think back to the first time I ever heard Slipknot. I know I was just out of high school. This was in 99. I was just out of high school, and I was attending like a trade school afterwards. And the one guy in the other class there, he was talking about this band called Slipknot. He even had a sticker on the back window of his car. It was like, who is Slipknot? I mean, and by this time, I was like rocking out to like Limp Bizkit and Korn and them type of bands, but never heard of Slipknot. And one day I rode with him out to Sheetz to get some lunch, and he was playing the CD in the car, and I was hooked. Like, a couple weekends after that, I went to the music store at the mall, yeah, I know, dated, and bought this CD. But as far as, like, live experiences with them, I never ever did get to see them live, or Stone Sour, or anything with Corey Taylor. So, yeah, that definitely on my bucket list, but I feel like I'm getting too old for the pit, I mean, this is one of those bands that have, like, the violent mosh pits. So, yeah, proceed with caution for sure. But, okay, so I need to rate these albums here. How do I rate them? Well, we're going to split it off into 2 eras here. So, we're going to say, like, 2000s era, which is going to include the 1999 debut, Slipknot. So we'll call that 2000s era. And then, I guess we'll say the 10s and 20s era for the last 3. Yeah, we'll do that. So, my least favorite of the first era, believe it or not, the debut. And I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't hate it, but as I kept saying earlier in the video, I feel like they just kept revolving with every album there for that first half. As far as my favorite, oh gee, I don't know. I'm gonna have to say All Hope Is Gone. I mean, it's one of those that maybe not really for a nostalgic reason, but I mean, just the songs were like a lot better produced, just like a lot more catchy, I guess. But yeah, I'd say All Hope Is Gone would be my favorite of that era. Probably my favorite of the whole discography, for sure. Okay, so as far as the later half of Slipknot, what's my favorite, what's my least? I'm gonna say my favorite of that era, The Grey Chapter. After their break from the studio, they just came back with a vengeance. Just kept going like they have been, And as far as my least favorite goes, not that I hated it, but We Are Not Your Kind. But yeah, Slipknot, they're awesome. I hope they come out with more material, keep touring, and all that good stuff. And yeah, Corey Taylor, he's a fucking legend on himself. Between Slipknot, he's done just as many albums with Stone Sour on top of all this. So yeah, Corey Taylor has been a busy man in the past 2.5 decades. It's just that whenever you go to the Stone Sour side, he's Corey Taylor without the mask. So, yeah, there you have it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this edition of All In featuring Slipknot. And so, next video, we're going to go way, way back in time. Like, I'm talking, like, I'm just going to tell, to give you a hint, any of the albums I'm going to review in the next video could have been available on 8-track. I'll just put it like that. We'll see you next time.